there, Tanya here from MiSlope.com, coming at you with an update video on one of our favorite tools, the One-Piece swimsuit pattern. So I want to walk you through all the updates because there have been quite a few, and introduce you to the updates that we will be rolling out to all the other tools. So this is pretty exciting. So starting off strong, make sure that you're logged into your account and then you access the One-Piece swimsuit pattern through the drafting library. And if you haven't purchased the One-Piece swimsuit pattern, definitely recommend, because these updates are really going to change the game. So starting off in the tool, we see the profile form. So this is for custom measurements, and this is what we've been using before with the MiSlope, the measurement profiles. But what I added in here was is the ASTM size table. So no longer do you need to go to the actual size table and manually enter in the measurements. It's built right into the tool. So you can either use your custom profiles. So if I pull up my demo measurements, we can see that it pre-populates the form with all my demo measurements. Or if we want to use the ASTM size table, we can do that as well, and it'll populate into the form. So right now we have only two size envelopes available, the most common ones, so the Missy Curvy and the Missy Straight size tables. And in the near future, we'll add more envelopes to make it even more dynamic. So right now, what you would do if you want to draw from the ASTM size tables, you would pull up, let's say Missy Curvy, for example, and then I'll do, let's say, a size 6. And then you need to pick your unit of measurement. We'll go with inches. And then, as you see, the entire form is pre-populated. Now, another benefit of having the ASTM size tables built into the tool itself is as we're gaining more confidence in taking custom measurements, using the size tables could help us troubleshoot the tool and our drafting patterns, and while we're gaining more confidence with custom measurements. So for example, the vertical measurements I've noticed have been quite a tricky one for people to get down accurate, and there sometimes can be some measurement errors in terms of the nape to waist, waist to bust, and nape to waist, waist to bust, and the arm side. So if you wanted to, let's say, use the ASTM size tables as a starting point to get your pattern going, you can go ahead and adjust some of the horizontal measurements. I know for myself, I actually fit pretty closely into the Missy Curvy size 8. However, my bust and hip measurements are weird, so I would have to go in and just adjust some of the horizontal measurements to really make it fit me specifically. And I'm a little bit shorter in the nape to waist, so I'd adjust this vertical measurement. But yeah, so this is a great starting point, so you can get used to the tools, and then when you get more confident with taking custom measurements, you can see what works and then what pushes the tools to do something wonky. But yeah, so Missy Curvy, Missy Straight, we have sizes 2 through 20, and then you can pick your unit of measurements, centimeters and inches. And then the next exciting update is we added coverage options. So the level of coverage is going to come in 2 different forms. So you'll be able to combine 2 elements that I added to the tool to really maximize coverage or give yourself more coverage with a higher leg line. So we have first our level of coverage, which will be the straight line coverage, and our contour coverage. I'm going to put a little image here after to kind of show you what I mean. The straight line is what the tools already do. So from the gusset to the apex of the leg line, it's just one straight line, which is the most stable in terms of tension lines. But if we want a little bit of that extra coverage, we have the contour coverage now, which features that U shape that curves under the gluteal fold to kind of hook in and also provide a bit more coverage. Now, if we combine these 2 sets of coverage with the other addition for coverage that I added, the leg hole height percentage, then you can really adjust the stability and the coverage to either be super max or a little bit in between. The leg hole height coverage will essentially be moving that leg hole, the apex of the leg hole, either closer to the hip line or farther away from the hip line. So if you really want that high leg line, you would put in 0%. And if you want a low leg line, the most stable, the most coverage, you would put 100%. So that would move the apex of the leg hole all the way down to the hip line. So let me plug this in just to give a quick demo, and then I'll go through the other features of the tool. So we're gonna, for funsies, we'll put in 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then we'll do 12% negative ease, and then we'll submit that, and then we'll bring up the pattern. So let me move myself out of the way. So this is our contour coverage, and this is the leg line at 50%. So this is what the tool does by default. So now we can play with this leg line. So we can either lower the leg line height percentage closer to the hip line, or we can raise it. So let me show you also a feature of the tool that's not really advertised, and sometimes it can be a little wonky, but instead of refilling the entire tool with measurements every time you want to kind of adjust the pattern, you can technically do it in the form and just resubmit the form. When you're using a browser outside Google Chrome, it might be a little crazy, but in Google Chrome it seems to work. So let me demonstrate with 0% here. I'm going to just resubmit the form. I'm going to wait a second for it to do its magic, and then I'm going to download the page. And then we see that this leg line is now increased. So this was at 50%. Here, let me zoom out here. This is at 50%. This is at 0%. Let me show you what the straight line coverage at 0% is going to look like. So we see that straight line. And then if we wanted to go, let's say, to the max, let's say 100, and then we can do contour coverage. I'm going to resubmit the form, wait for it to work its magic, and then download. So we can see here that we have the U-shaped coverage is going down to the hip line. So this is going to be very almost like a brief, like a dance brief, like little short shorts, kinda. So this is gonna be your max coverage, and then if the least amount of coverage, if you really want that high leg line, then you would go straight line, and then you would go 0%. Where are we here? 0. And then another feature that I will add to the tool in the coming weeks will be a thong option. But right now for, Leos and dance costumes, thong options, definitely not the highest priority. So that will be a later update after I go ahead and update all the tools. Another thing that I added is as an update to make the tools a little bit more user-friendly right out the box. So we have our custom measurements, we have our ASTM size tables, but now I've put some more measurements as default. So all of your pattern options are going to be default, but that's not the one I wanted to point out. A shoulder slope, yeah. If you're drafting from custom measurements, for example, and I noticed that the shoulder slope is a bit of a difficult one for some people to calculate, and then if you also aren't using a vector software or you don't have the, don't want to eyeball it, I just put this as optional. So there's some background calculations that will help get your ideal shoulder slope, but if you really want to get pinpoint accurate with it, you can enter your own shoulder slope. It does affect the tension around the armhole. So technically less shoulder slope, will be a little bit of a looser fit versus a more intense shoulder slope. So that's optional. And then in terms of pattern updates, instead of having to kind of guesstimate and put in your pattern options, I made it kind of as if like you're buying a ready to wear pattern and there is the standard places where the pattern will sit. But if you want to adjust it, you absolutely can. So this is all optional. And then right out the box, I submit my measurements. Actually, let's refresh the form so I can show you what it's gonna look like right out the box if we're just using the ASTM size tables. So we're gonna go with inches, we're gonna go with contour, and I'm not touching anything else. I'm just gonna add in my seam allowance because that is very personal to your construction method. You're gonna submit, and then this is what the pattern will look like right out the box. I just did a size 6, and this is with the contoured leg line. This is what it will look like out the box. Now, you have the ability to adjust a ton of things. So your shoulder strap, you can, let me move myself out of the way here. The distance from the bust line, you can technically you can drop both necklines below the bust line. You have to use a negative number. Let me just demo that for you real quick. So back neckline -3. So we're gonna drop it -3 below the bust line. And we can see we get kind of a deeper back. Little note here. When we're using negative numbers, if you go too low and you start to cross that tension line, so this tension line here, the strap will go wonky because you will break the tension line. So you can go low back to a certain point. You can't go crazy. Same thing with the front neckline. So let's say we wanted to also drop that front neckline. Go -5. We'll go 5 inches. We'll get really sassy with it. So there is the possibility. Let me move myself out of the way here. Oh, I can only move myself so much. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So this is what you can do. You can adjust, you know, the shoulder strap. Let's say we want to go 5 inches. Now I'm really playing with the numbers here, and we might get some wonky patterns, but yeah. So this is what happens when you break the tension line. So we'd have to go back and adjust this. So maybe we'd go -1, and then maybe we'd go just 0 there. See what that looks like. Yeah, so that works. Yeah, so let's see. Recap here. We have our optional options. Shoulder slope is optional now in this tool, and then what I'm going to roll it out to the rest of the tools. Different levels of coverage, and then our leg hole height. So leg hole height combined with the different levels of coverage. Oh baby, you got a lot of options here. So yeah, and just a note for future updates. So we will go ahead and, while I got you, let's head into the drafting. So for the blocks, I'm actually going to add seam allowance to the blocks because all the seams are technically trued. So they do work right out of the box, but you're supposed to use it as a block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that as optional with 0 seam allowance. And so you could use it as a block or you could use it as pattern. You won't have design lines in them, like the Leo pattern, for example. And then we'll add the coverage options to the dance brief pattern, and then potentially I'll add an option to change your side seams if you want to make them more narrow. Yeah, so that I think covers all the updates. If you don't have the One-Piece Leo swimsuit pattern, go get it, because those updates are too fun to not play with, especially with summer coming up, or if you're in Australia, I guess it'll start getting colder. But yeah, dance season's always around. So Any questions, anything going wonky when you're trying the new updates, please send me a message in the chat and I'll help work you through it. And yeah, let me know what you sew. I want to see pictures if you leave a review. If not, send me a flat lay of your cutting table. I really just want to see what you guys make. All right, thanks. Tanya out.